This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's time for the mailbag. But boy, before we get to that, couple things. First, the Rock segment on SmackDown. And we have Amanda, who's going to be on a bit of a delay this week, giving her review for SmackDown on Sunday. I'm going to talk about The Rock and his appearance on SmackDown and trying to buy Cody's soul and what that's going to entail come Elimination Chamber and beyond in a minute. But first and foremost, I want to give some priority placement here to the patrons, and specifically a couple of new patrons who have joined us over the last several days, and I want to thank them very much. And those people are, let me make sure I get this right here, James McPeak. Thank you for joining us on the WWE Podcast. We have Matt Brown. Thank you. Laura Cesara, thank you. So thank you to all of those members and patrons of the show. Thank you for supporting us. It's what we're here for, is to hopefully entertain you, but more importantly, share our passion of wrestling. That's why we're here. So you guys can join those individuals on Patreon and get an ad-free experience, exclusive shows, and a lot more over at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. But let's talk about The Rock. So I just watched it, and yes, we're going to get to the mailbag. We're going to rocket through some of the emails. So I just finished watching the segment with The Rock. I mean, that was like it felt like it went on way too long, and it did. They could have cut that down to 12 minutes. It was about double that. But The Rock comes out, and New Orleans loves him. Absolutely loves him. And it's The Rock. What the hell, right? But he's in the final boss character, which is good. And he's acknowledging the crowd, playing babyface, then playing heel, then back to babyface, then talking about herpes or syphilis or whatever, which is, it's funny, unless, of course, you have that, in which case it's not. But it's weird. His character was like, he acknowledged that, he and Cody have become friends, and New Orleans is getting WrestleMania 42. I think I heard a collective scream across the pond from every single wrestling fan in the UK at that very moment. I could hear the screams and the wails that many of you thought you were getting WrestleMania 42, and it's not in the cards. You may get WrestleMania 43 or maybe beyond that, but we're at least 2 years away from WrestleMania in the UK, for those of you that really, really want that. But it's New Orleans for WrestleMania 42. I don't know, April 15th, 16th, whatever. It's irrelevant because it's so far away. But now we don't have to think about it. Now it's where's WrestleMania 43? Anyway, so that was an announcement, but he said he knew, and we knew, that he was there for more than just announcing where WrestleMania 42 is going to be held, but rather to call somebody out. And it's none other than our suit-wearing, smiling, bleach blonde hair champion. And he comes out to a fairly warm reception. The crowd, that's entrance music of his, is saving Cody's ass. I really believe that. Not completely, but in large part, that entrance music he has is just, it's very good, and it's catchy, and it is a significant part of his rise to success. But he comes out, and you're not sure what The Rock and Cody are going to do. I like how they acknowledge the fact that The Rock laid flowers at the feet of Cody, and that he did that during the Netflix debut on Raw, because there was so much criticism, including from myself, of, hey, what the hell is going on here? You go from final boss, best character ever version of The Rock to Dwayne playing some kind of half-ass character suddenly, in a love fest with Cody. There was no explanation. And this is, at least they kind of tried to fill that gap. So I appreciate that. But you're wondering what he's getting at. You're wondering, is he going to challenge him for the championship and how that's going to work and what's going to happen? Is somebody going to attack somebody? Where's Roman? And I thought it might be finally that he's going to challenge Roman Reigns. He didn't, even though I think this year is the logical choice. He essentially is trying to buy Cody's soul. Classic storyline in a lot of movies. Is the good guy going to sell his soul to the devil to obtain wealth and more fame and riches beyond his wildest dreams? There are countless movies and storylines that have this just basic premise, and I think it's a good one. Rock says he wants a brother. He's trying to buy Cody out. We all know Cody's not going to. Okay? Cody's saying, it's my championship. It's their championship. I'm their champion. I don't know how you guys are all just cheering this. It's really just astonishing to me that people stomach this and want this kind of soft, effeminate champion. It doesn't make sense to me how everybody is just constantly, for whatever reason, enamored with Cody, no matter how much they pander. It's a different breed of wrestling fan, I guess, and that's what I have to just accept at this point. And I'm a dying breed of champion, of a wrestling fan, I guess. And so Cody is pandering to the fans, and they all love it. And Cody is given till March 1st. Is it March 1st? In Toronto for the Elimination Chamber, and that's where he wants his answer. That's where The Rock wants his answer. Now, here's where things get weird, because we all know what Cody's answer is going to be. Cody's not turning heel. He's not turning heel. He's going to turn The Rock down. Rock's going to, flip out. They're going to, The Rock's going to attack Cody, or Cody's going to attack The Rock as his answer to The Rock. So he's going to turn it down. That's not in question. The question is, how does this factor into WrestleMania, given the Elimination Chamber winner is going to face Cody Rhodes for the championship? Rock said he doesn't want the championship to Cody. He said he wants his soul. Okay. So that pretty much eliminates the fact that The Rock could be facing Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, I think. Unless he's so angry that he said he's just going to, now he's going to take, I offered you a way to, give me your soul. Now I'm just going to take it, and tries to take the championship. But again, where does that leave the winner of the chamber? Is The Rock going to again swoop in when there's a storyline going on and just insert himself into a championship picture? I don't know. Is there going to be a triple threat? I hope not. Whatever The Rock does, if it's a match at WrestleMania, it should be one-on-one. So my thinking is perhaps the bloodline shows up, or just singularly Roman Reigns, and he gets involved, and it becomes a Roman and Rock issue, and it's Roman versus The Rock, which to me is the most logical choice. Why? What the hell is Roman Reigns doing at WrestleMania? He could face Seth Rollins, and that likely is what could happen, but maybe they even table that. They table it for a little bit after WrestleMania if you want to get to Roman Rock. Because Rock right now is back. He's healthy. The years are ticking by. Roman's there. He's healthy. Roman's not a champion. It's what you want. You have both guys available, healthy, and both are not champions. And here you go. Now, again, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, I absolutely want that. And that program should play itself out. But you have the stage set more than any other year. You have it set. Other than that, I don't know what could happen here. Anybody else got any thoughts? It's interesting. It's very interesting. But I think now, and I swore off The Rock until I saw him back, but now he's back, so I can talk about it. What could happen, guys? What does the chamber winner do? Because Cody's going to turn down The Rock. Rock's going to flip out. They're going to get in a physical altercation. But it's going to then do what for the winner? And The Rock's not going to have a match in between, Chamber and WrestleMania. So it's quite interesting. But, all right, well, we got some emails to get through, and we'll do that right now, actually. Let's talk to Andrew from Michigan. And he said, I must admit, these past couple weeks have given me a new interest in the Jay and Gunther story. WWE has done a great job making me care about the feud. Gunther beating down Jay 2 weeks ago was genius. Having Gunther come out of the crowd was great. I'm not to the point where I think this should be a WrestleMania main event, but I could see myself getting there. Well, that's, where I hope to be and where I hope most fans hope they are. I'm not saying they're not going to have a good match. I'm not saying this match is not worthy of happening. It just does not feel like a WrestleMania main event at all. It just doesn't. I was just calling a spade a spade. However, like you, I am hopeful that I feel differently come WrestleMania. They got a lot of time to fill. There's a lot of story to tell. There's a lot of creative that they have to get through over the next 6 to 7 weeks before we get to the match. And so there's time. You're a little bit ahead of me, but I'm hopeful. I know I've been down on it only because of the reasons I've said many times, which is simply that we've already seen this. But, all right. I want to speak on the women's roster as well. I think you're right about the mid-card belts being pointless. WWE is trying to do the same thing with Roxanne Perez in the Elimination Chamber that they did with Tiffany Stratton. How does Roxanne Perez skip the mid-card scene, go straight to a match where the prize is a title shot at WrestleMania? Tiffany was already organically over with the fans at this point last year. I do not feel the same about Perez. Finally, name a woman heel that is over with the crowd outside of Liv Morgan or Charlotte Flair. The women's division has a serious heel problem. Yeah, I don't know. Who the hell is over as a heel besides Liv or Charlotte? Good question. I'm trying to think. Obviously, I don't know. Sonya Deville? Kind of. Maybe. But as far as Roxanne Perez in the chamber and they did that with Stratton. Well, yeah, they did. And it's never a advisable strategy to have, the mid-card scene skipped generally, because it often looks like that person didn't earn it if they didn't walk the path that so many do. And it's a traditional path. Doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just usually will, it'll anger some fans. Now, the idea, though, that mid-card belts don't mean anything, well, they don't right now. And the reason they don't is they just invented them out of thin air. And there are, how many championships do the women have now? They have the top two from each brand. They have the IC, the US, the tag titles. I'm not counting NXT. Well, okay, fine. No, I'll count NXT. They have the NXT Women's Champion. Well, they have 7 championships. And even the top belts at times, they don't do much with. So WWE doesn't even have a heel problem for the women. They have a time problem for the women. They have a championship value problem. And they've had it for a long time. And I know there's a lot of rumor going around about Triple H and the women being angry with Triple H. Well, he's not doing a whole lot much different than Vince did. Now, this is a carryover from Vince McMahon, and it's a tough, it's a tough wire to walk, because you want to give the women more time. You want to, at least give the public perception that you are trying to work in the women's division, but only inventing championships and then not giving them the time they deserve and helping create value for those championships. That's the problem. It's always, always, always the follow-up. You can have moments and create belts, but it's what you do with and after those moments that show you actually had a plan for said creative. And it's not just, this is kind of an industry-wide problem, but specifically for the women, it's been a problem. Thank you, buddy. Let's go to our next patron, and we'll talk to DJ Kuzma. Why not? And he says, another week, another mailbag, attempting to finish typing this before I go to Dreamland once again. Boy, you just do this right before you go to bed, huh? All right, let's see how you did. I almost thought that this Saturday was at the Chamber, but then I realized it's on March 1st as opposed to February 22nd, the same day as my mom's birthday. Well, happy birthday to your mom tomorrow. Interesting that there will be another KO Sami match. I guess that could be, the 1 millionth time. Also including their matches that they had against one another on the Indies. that many years ago. However, I'm just exaggerating, but the match quality should be solid as usual. It's somewhat coming from a full circle for both Kevin and Sami since they won the tag titles against the Usos at WrestleMania 39, and then to now being on opposing sides, leading into what should be a really good unsanctioned match. My question is, could Kevin Owens ever be that guy to win a major championship or mid-card title? Even though he was booked to lose to Cody at the WrestleMania, or I'm sorry, he was booked to lose to Cody for the Undisputed title on numerous occasions. Well, Cody Rhodes, right now, again, it shouldn't be any surprise. I mean, you could have God himself come down and face Cody Rhodes, and they would book Cody Rhodes to win because that's how they feel about Cody right now. And until the fans decide to change their mind or someone high up decides to change their mind and convince others to do so as well, it's not going to change. But, yeah, we're getting Sami and Kevin again. And it's the match quality is never in question. And that's always kind of the theme, right? It's a lot of times it's match quality that's not the concern. It's story. It's repetitiveness, or it's the lack of unpredictability, or it's the lack of original storylines, or whatever. But they're going to work well together. It's a sure thing. I see why they're doing it. And if they didn't have them work together, I'm not sure what they would do otherwise. But could Kevin Owens ever win a championship? I think he'll win maybe the IC or US again. He should absolutely have a run with the top belt. He hasn't held a championship in 8 years? It's insane to think about. Yet he's the guy that brought Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement, right? And yet he hasn't won a belt in 8 years? It's unfathomable, really. All right. The same question goes for Finn. Could he ever be the guy he was in NXT winning championships? Because Finn has been on a downward decline since losing to Roman Reigns at that weird finish to their Extreme Rules match for the Universal title in 2021 when Finn was the demon character. Yeah, wasn't that when the rope broke or something? Didn't the rope break and then that was like it? It was, I think, the last time he was the demon character or whatever it was. Yeah, the rope broke and that was all I remember about that match. And then after that, yeah, he's just been on kind of a, I shouldn't say downward spiral. He's been on a downward decline with slight peaks, but mostly valleys. That's how I'd describe it. One final thing to mention. I just recently watched this classic star-studded 4 quarters tag team match for the WWF Tag Team Championships from a random Monday Night Raw in Omaha, Nebraska in 1998. Of Austin and Taker versus The Rock and D'Lo Brown of the Nation versus the New Age Outlaws of Road Dogg and Billy Gunn versus Mankind and Kane. And I got to say, what a time to be alive. It's kind of insane back then that Raw had a pay-per-view worthy main event match regularly in front of an engaged, amped crowd like the one in Omaha, Nebraska. But in hindsight, it was the right call for Austin and Taker to drop the tag titles back so soon to Mankind and Kane, even though Austin and Taker would have the WWF title match at SummerSlam's 1998 Highway to Hell. That's all for now. All right, DJ Kuzma. Yes, thank you. And that, I don't even remember Austin and Taker holding the WWF tag team belts. I really don't. I believe you, but it made sense too. I never really actually enjoyed Austin and Taker's program. I think their styles just didn't gel. It was oil and water. Their match at SummerSlam 1998, the Highway to Hell, the infamous song, which I still enjoy listening to because of this match and this program. Austin got knocked out early in the match. You can see it happen. Taker bent down for a back body drop and Austin kicked him, but Austin kicked him so hard that the Undertaker shot up and he hit Austin. Austin's head was hit by Undertaker's head, like the chin of Austin. It was a perfect knockout shot. You should go watch it. I'm sure you have, DJ, but if you haven't, anybody else, you should. Austin gets knocked out in that match for real. But yeah, interesting. It's always fun to go back to watch those random Monday Night Raws. It's just nostalgic if you lived during that time, and to see literal, in some cases, WrestleMania main events for some time for a lot of these Monday Night Raws. And There was even a match, if I'm not mistaken, leading into WrestleMania 18 when The Rock and Hogan had their thing, where it was Austin and The Rock teaming against Hogan and Scott Hall in a tag team match for Monday Night Raw leading into WrestleMania. That is a match that's like beyond WrestleMania dream worthy. You know what I mean? Think about the star power in that match. The three biggest stars, and yeah, Scott Hall he's a big star, but he's not, I don't think he's in the tier of Austin, Rock, and Hogan. But nonetheless, there was some interaction between Austin and Hogan in that match. Not a lot, but they did have some. So you can't say they didn't wrestle at all ever in a ring together. It just never was one-on-one, and it was brief. That said, thank you, DJ, for that nostalgic trip. All right. Let's also, I know we have some more patrons. I want to make sure we get to those, because I think we have some non-patrons. But let's see, where do we want to go? We'll talk to Jeff. The Rock returns tonight on SmackDown. Yes, he does. And I spoke about it. But he says, hello to all my WWE fans. I wanted to point out what was missed on SmackDown's review and see what you thought. First off, the Wide 6 logo popping up all over Alexa Bliss during her interview. I wonder when they'll come back and have Alexa join. Or is she the real leader of the group? Another one was Solo giving Tama Tonga the spike at the end of SmackDown. Could we see a babyface turn for Tonga and Fatu? They're already getting cheered. Yes to that. They could definitely have a turn. Could Alexa join the Wide 6? Well, I think it's a foregone conclusion, given all the quick little, technical difficulties you're seeing during Alexa Bliss when she's on TV. I think it's a foregone conclusion. And boy, do the Wide 6 need it, because did you forget the Wide 6 existed? I did. So, let's see. The Kevin Owens match with Sami. I feel like we could see the results of Randy Orton and a setup at Randy versus KO at WrestleMania. Going to be a great couple months to WrestleMania. Also, congrats to Michelle McCool on going into the Hall of Fame. Who else would you like to see in the Hall of Fame this year? See everyone in the Discord. I feel like pretty much everyone that should be in it is in it, and a lot of times they put people in it just to fill a quota every year, and I'm not a fan of it. I personally, and it's all subjective, disagree, Jeff, that Michelle McCool is deserving of the accolade to be in a Hall of Fame for WWE. It feels like the metric, or rather the bar that you need to meet to get into the Hall of Fame is just, do people remember you? Like, do people just remember you and you're in? I mean, it sometimes feels like that. So now Randy Orton coming back and facing Kevin Owens. That's a heck of a, yeah. I mean, look, Randy Orton is likely coming back at Chamber and getting some measure of revenge against Kevin Owens. This is an unsanctioned match, which means even if Kevin Owens is attacked by Randy, it's not going to mess up the match because it's all legal. I don't even know if there's going to be a referee. It's just people beating the hell out of each other with no referee there, or no one to count the three, because it's not an actual match. So that's just going to be a brawl that's leading to WrestleMania. Now, it could be Sami versus Kevin versus Randy, because if you take Sami out of WrestleMania, what are you doing with him? So a lot of moving parts. This WrestleMania is it's so confusing, because The Rock's in, he's out, he's out, he's in, he's out. Then that changes things up. And where does that leave Cody now with the Chamber winner? Now you got Sami and Kevin, and you've got returning Randy Orton. What happens there? It's cool. It's kind of cool. I like being not so sure about this year's WrestleMania, unlike years past. All right. So let's see here. Let's talk to Alex, the French guy. I know I think you've got a voicemail, but you said I needed to get this Rock information out there, and The Rock posted last week a story where we saw him watching a movie, Casino. Of course, he has to reference Las Vegas, a clear message about WrestleMania heading to Vegas this year. However, I think we will only see him as a guest, not teasing any story, just going for cheap pop. Well, Alex, yeah, listen, there's something brewing. He showed up. He's on SmackDown, as we saw. It's a matter of what happens now. So, all right. Let's now go to more emails here. And we'll talk to Tom. And sorry for the long email in advance. It's not that long. We'll get through it. I would think that CM Punk's favor will be brought to the forefront in the next few weeks, unless WWE forgot about it, which they tend to do. I don't think they'll forget about this one. You got Paul Heyman and CM Punk. I don't think it'll be forgotten. I don't think it will. Now, if there's any time to cash in, it's WrestleMania season. So, yeah, they would think Punk would do it now. My theory is that Cena is going to win the Chamber in some kind of controversial fashion over Punk that's going to leave a dark cloud over his win and make the fans support Punk getting into the title picture. There's already questions around Cena getting a free pass to the Chamber, and he'll probably be the last one to enter the ring and pin Punk, and with Punk's shoulder off the mat or costing Rollins, or Rollins costing him. That's definitely the most likely. If John Cena enters first in the Chamber, I would be floored. John Cena is absolutely going to be the last person, or very, even at the worst, is going to be like number 5 out of 6 in the Chamber. Definitely. Absolutely. As far as, getting a dark cloud over his win, I don't think so. If they have no intention of turning John Cena heel, then they're not going to, give him a controversial win. It's the final go around for John Cena. And if there's no intent to turn him heel, they're not going to give him a controversial victory. I don't think they'll do that to him. But here's the thing. We got to get Cena being Cena. I said that right at the onset of this whole run. He needs to be John Cena, not this kind of half smile, smirk, oh, do I deserve it? Do I not? And, looking around and breaking the fourth wall every 5 seconds. No, either be John Cena or go home. I don't need this half-ass baked version. And that's what I've seen so far from John Cena. Not that his in-ring work is bad at his age, and no, not that he's not so really good on promos. It's the vibe he gives and the stupid smiles all the time that he gives. I love John Cena as far as what he's contributed to the business. But if you're on a year-long tour saying goodbye to everyone, as many people as you can, and thank you to as many people as you can, but we didn't sign up to be, have you kiss our ass. We signed up and we go to the events to see you be John Cena. So be him. Don't pretend to be him. All right. So Punk will protest and appeal to Triple H or Aldis and ask for a one-on-one match with Cena for the title opportunity, which the fans will support. Triple H will say no. Punk then goes to Heyman and asks for the favor. The following SmackDown, when Cena and Cody are having their promo, whose music hits but The Rock, and not the final boss from Netflix, but the one who doesn't like Cody or Cena. He tells the two of them that he is the head of WWE and not Triple H, and he's granting Punk a title shot. They could either do a Saturday night main event, one-on-one, do a night 1 WrestleMania match between Cena and Punk with the winner getting to face Cody on night 2, or just do a triple threat. The Rock could even be the special referee to make it more spicy. I know The Rock is busy, but would require much of him showing up on a SmackDown and WrestleMania, and that's it. Well, again, solid logic, my friend. Solid logic, Tom. The problem is we just saw that kind of get shattered a little bit here on this past SmackDown with his purpose of trying to buy Cody's soul. That's really what happened here. This storyline is no different than The Little Mermaid. Why? Well, if you watch the 1989 Disney movie, which is what I'm referring to, still a great movie. I'm man enough to admit it. Ariel wanted to walk so she could be with her prince. And the sea urchin, or the sea witch, Ursula, said, okay, cool. I'll do that, but I want your voice. Right? So here, you can have all these things, but I want your soul. That's essentially what it was. Same exact story. Like, this is a story as it's as solid as it gets. It doesn't get old. You know the outcome, but the follow-up and what the reason this is for. Why are they doing this? Not what's the outcome, but what's the ultimate, like, what do you envision for WrestleMania, I guess, is really what most fans are, I think, looking for. But solid logic, Tom. No doubt. All right. Let's talk to our Pam. Let's talk to Pam. Pam Anderson, believe it or not. And she says, hey, first time writing in, but loyal listener. I'll keep this short and sweet. Well, thank you so much. Number 1, your ongoing struggle with Cody. I'll tell you why he's loved. He's freaking hot. Plain and simple. Damn. Well, I don't think that's the reason. I'll be honest. Now, that may be why some of the women cheer him, but there's a lot of dudes cheering him. And I don't want to hear, oh, they're all gay. No, they're not. No. A lot of them with wives and kids, and you can see them in the crowd. No. WWE's core demo still are the men 18 to 40. That's still and has not changed because the type of product WWE puts out targets that audience. Now, it has become a little younger given the PG era, but the men aren't cheering Cody because he's hot. And most of the WWE has male fans, and they are not cheering Cody because he's hot. You may be. And there may be a subset of female fans that do. That's not the reason. And also, let's just pretend you're right as a whole. That doesn't stand up. And the reason is that's a superficial connection that fades quickly. You're telling me people go to these events to see a hot guy when they could go to anything for free and see that? The women are buying tickets to go see Cody Rhodes and cheer him because you're so hot. Oh my God. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't buy it, Pam. Not that you don't cheer him because of that reason. Of course, that probably is true. But just the general fan cheers him not because he's hot. All right. That's my take. 2. Legendary female wrestler, the Fabulous Moolah, 1949 through early 2000s, earns the title in my book. Sure, she has some allegations, but still. Okay, fair. I think my question that you answered that I forgot what I asked is there a legendary female wrestler? Fabulous Moolah, I'll give you that. And actually, she has a book that I'm pretty sure she has a book. She has stories that I've heard about that are just wild. I mean, the women in wrestling before women had a division was just, it was a wild, wild west. I'll just leave it at that. You can imagine some of the stories from the Fabulous Moolah. Way ahead of her time. And I'll give you that. Yeah, the Fabulous Moolah. I wasn't thinking back far enough. 3. Bianca and Naomi's character cheerleader costumes were a throwback to the movie Bring It On. There you have it. Keep up the awesome work. Thanks for bringing happiness to being stuck in traffic. Well, pay attention. Okay. I hate being stuck in traffic too. I usually throw on a wrestling podcast or two. No, not my own. It does help. So hopefully you're not stuck in the traffic right now, but if you are, well, I can keep you company. Now, Naomi and Bianca, fine. Here's the thing. I don't really care the reason why, because the result for me and my reaction to it is still the same. That they shouldn't be wearing cheerleading outfits. Not that I'm offended by them or I think that it's too risque. It's no. It's just that, again, you guys are professional athletes, former champions, especially with Bianca, who could have a much more solid character if she just dropped the skipping and the hair twirling and then she doubles down on it by dressing up as a cheerleader. Again, that actually makes it worse when I think about it, that they dressed up to be a throwback to Bring It On. So now she's 14, trying to mimic some kind of female actress that she saw in a movie, and that's honestly what teenage girls do. I'm sorry. It makes it worse. That doesn't make it better. Now, if she did it on a dare, that might soften the blow. I just, here's my whole issue with this. It's not that I'm trying to tell women what to wear. You can wear what you want. I'm telling you though, if you wear what you want, then I get to comment on whatever you wear, right? That's fair. But if my opinion's not pre-approved, then, I guess that's more about those that find my opinion objectionable than it is about my actual opinion. But my whole issue is that I see so much in Bianca that we haven't seen yet. Yes, she's been a WrestleMania main eventer. She's had awesome matches at WrestleMania. But the last couple of years now have really, I don't know what they're thinking. They could have done so much more with her. Yes, turning her heel is an option, and I've been an advocate for that. But also just modifying her babyface character to a little more serious, a little more mature. Does that make sense? I feel like her character has actually been kind of immature a little bit, especially her entrances I've mentioned many times. That's really what it is, because I know Bianca is a face of the women's division anytime they want it to be. All right. Thanks, Pam. One more email here. This is Kay. So quick hits here from SmackDown. This is from last week's SmackDown, I would imagine, because you don't have a DeLorean to see this week's SmackDown. So just like you, Matt, I hate Cody. He is the wonder bread of babyface. At WrestleMania 41, it's time for him to drop the belt. I mean, amen. Preach, as they say. Drew, on the other hand, is a fantastic and consummate pro. I am someone who does not hate Charlotte, but I do want to see her beat my favorite Tiffy. I can see it coming, unfortunately. I personally like the Tiffany Trishy time angle. Trish can make a great manager and mentor. I would agree. Jacob Fatu is brilliant, and I see him feuding with Solo as a babyface. He has nowhere to go but up. I can't disagree again. What are they doing with The Miz? This is pathetic. I've seen worse. Remember when The Miz and Morrison were acting like sophomores in high school for like a year? That was worse. All right, Raw. I love Gunther, and him mocking Jay's entrance was great. Had to laugh when Braun Breaker accidentally speared Dom. Yeah, I did too. Would you like to see Breaker and Cena? Absolutely. I want to see John Cena work with younger talent. Not exclusively during his run here. It's very limited, but some, yeah, absolutely. Adam Pearce and this no sanction nonsense is ridiculous. Kevin and Sami yet again. Well, it's ridiculous in the sense that if you apply even a little bit of logic to it, you have it as listed as a match, but it's unsanctioned. Okay, but it's still happening under your watch, so it can't be unsanctioned no matter what you say, because they're still contracted to WWE, and WWE, by saying it's unsanctioned, is saying that they have no liability or fault should one of them be injured or killed. But it just doesn't make sense. You can't have a non-sanctioned match because every match is sanctioned by WWE by default. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the show. So anyway, I'm getting too into the weeds. So I agree with you on the Jade nonsense and agree no one cares. I think they're getting ready for a Liv and Rhea Ripley tag team run, or Raquel Rodriguez. I'm guessing Raquel Rodriguez, and the dissolving of B and N. Yes. I think you're probably right. I mean, well, first of all, the Jade stuff, I keep having to remind myself about it, and that's not a good thing. When you keep having to remind yourself about it, that means that they didn't do a great job of getting you emotionally attached to said storyline or the characters involved in them. Because Jade was not a character that connected with the fans very well. She got a good reaction because she's got $1 million look. But the second you scratch beneath the surface, there hasn't been much there. It's, look at my outfit. Look at my body. Isn't my body amazing? Hey, did you check out my body, by the way? Hey, look what doesn't this outfit look great on my body? Wow. Yeah. Hey, did you get a chance over the weekend? Take a look at my body that I posted on Instagram. And look, you can post whatever you want. I'm not telling people what to post or whatever. But here's the thing. When you post these things publicly, I get to comment on them publicly. Fair. And I think Jade Cargill is leaning too much on how she looks, which is going to fade away. it will fade into the night. All right. Finn Balor is on a real streak. 1-7 in his last 8 matches. Wow. Man. Yeah, that's brutal. I like the Wyatt tease with Alexa. She is so good. I really think she wants to do this as a tribute to her friend Bray or Wyndham Rotunda. Yes. Overall good show. Thank you as always. Great job you do. Thank you, Kay. Well, yeah, it's no secret. Like, Alexa, Lexi Kaufman, and Wyndham Rotunda, I'm using real names here, so that's, just because that's what's happening here, is that they were actual friends. And they worked very closely together for many years when Alexa was in the Firefly Funhouse and sitting on a swing and all that. Remember, with her and Lily, and there were some stupid things, and Lily coming alive. Remember that? Remember Lily coming alive and winking and all that weird crap? Yeah, I do too. So there were some bad moments, but generally they had a good, strong connection. Alexa Bliss, I think, really helped out Bray and vice versa. But yeah, I think this is definitely a significant portion of just tribute to her friend, Wyndham. Definitely. All right. Oh, we got one more. Alex, I'm sorry. Alex, the French guy. But that's a voicemail, so we'll get to that in a minute. And smart, you sent the voicemail in via email instead of on our typical Google Voice. That's, for some reason, has not been kind to you over the last couple of weeks. But all right, let's get to those voicemails right now.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Records you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take it to my 32nd episode of the Judge Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. And let's take it to what took place last week on an episode of TNA Pro Wrestling, as Joe Hendry, in his very first title defense after being the newly crowned TNA World Champion, had a matchup against Jake something. That's right, and as Matt did say on the Mailbag last week, that is his gimmick, Jake something, because he's something else. 262 pounds, a monster of a man, going up against Joe Hendry, pure motivation at 252 pounds. This was not your traditional high-flying type of matchup. This was a very brute force, very ground and pound type of matchup between these two meaty wrestlers, as Joe Hendry had some unbelievable feats of strength, holding Jake something in a vertical suplex formation for what seems to be almost a minute and a couple of seconds. And then, of course, he did the follow-away slam off the top rope. And then he went for the standing ovation choke slam. And 1, 2, 3, and still your TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Joe Hendry, gets the victory. But this was what happened after the match, which was kind of strange. Here comes Nick Nemet's brother, Ryan Nemeth, as he says, my brother, as he still has some issues with Joe Hendry because of what took place a couple of weeks ago prior to him becoming the TNA World Champion. And of course, he has a little interaction with Joe Hendry. And then all of a sudden, here comes Santina Marella, the director of authority, to kind of break up this little potential brawl that was going to happen between Joe Hendry and Ryan Nemeth. But then all of a sudden, here comes none other than Nick Nemeth, as he was about to assist Joe Hendry because Jake something was attacking Joe Hendry. But then he hits the super kick on Santina Marella by accident. Nick Nemeth hits the super kick on Santina Marella by accident. What's going on? And is there some sort of continuation to what this could possibly lead to? Can we get a Joe Hendry rematch with Nick Nemeth? Let's see. But anyway, this, my friends, is the conclusion of today's episode of the Joe Hendry Report. And like always, always remember to believe. Say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says. Anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
Well, thank you, DJ. It's good to hear from you and keeping us abreast of what is going on with Joe Hendry, who continues to kill it. And it's good to see Dolph Ziggler, i.e. Nick Nemeth, also getting a little bit of what is owed to him, which is some main event time. And I didn't even know he had a brother. I didn't know. Is that storyline? Or is it actual? I don't know. I would imagine it's story, but if it's not, then I didn't know Nick Nemeth, Dolph had a brother. But good to see, good to hear. And thank you. And I would encourage everyone to go watch. I did see some of the match. Did see some of Jake something. He's pretty damn good in the ring. It's fun to watch. When you go from WWE and you're such a WWE loyalist, or that's all you watch, and you turn to another promotion and you watch their style, it's almost refreshing. WWE is absolutely more polished. They have a much bigger global reach. They are, to say they're more successful is like saying that, Brock Lesnar is stronger than a toddler. I mean, of course, but it's refreshing to watch a brand of wrestling, the way it sounds, looks, feels, and is presented. That's not WWE. Sometimes it's kind of a palate cleanser, one that's not so sharp and just produced. So I would encourage anyone to just, even if it's an independent show, whatever. I like WWE. Obviously, I have a whole podcast about it I've been doing for a decade. But to watch another promotion and see how they present pro wrestling, it's really nice to see sometimes. Not that you're going to never watch WWE. That's not the goal. The goal is to show you that there are other ways to present pro wrestling. And it's just a palate cleanser from WWE's just very, very polished product. Sometimes being polished makes it feel unnatural. And I think watching the other promotions makes it more about the wrestling and less about the polishedness and the storytelling and all that stuff. It's just a nice break. So thank you, DJ. All right, let's go to Alex, the French guy. And listen, I got your voicemail, which sounds 100 times better via the email. So let's get to you right now.
Alex, the French guy here, your current European champion. Last week vocal was absolutely horrendous. That was the case for some of my vocals. That's why I tried to send it through the mailbag address. And yeah, let's test it out. Matt, last week I wanted to address you on something. And that something is international crowd, especially French crowd. When seeing AJ Styles, that reminded me of the ovation he got last year when he faced Cody Rhodes, and when we sang that he is phenomenal in French. And let me explain something to you, Matt. It's not that French people want to go in business for themselves. It's really, I can assess you that we are so passionate about wrestling, and we're so in the margin. So we don't meet people that are fans like us. It's the first time in history that you had a official show in France, and I can swear to you that so many people were so passionate about this event. And I can tell you, it's so difficult for us French fans, and I think that's the same in the US, to meet people that are into wrestling and to have a good conversation and so on. So once again, I am saying we are so passionate about wrestling, and it's so niche in France that we are so vocal about that. And I can say that maybe Clash in Paris in August, that will be the same. And most of it, AJ Styles will be a babyface, so I can say to you that we will sing for him. And we will also sing for many wrestlers. And I think that's a good thing, because of course you will not get a crowd like this every time, but that's good, that's fine. You have this crowd, and as a wrestler, whenever you come and you perform in front of a vocal crowd like this, some people will think, oh, it's not for me. They go in business for themselves, which I think it's not in France as well, at least. But I think that also a ego booster for some wrestlers. Some wrestlers that are in the mid card, that are unmotivated by the storylines they are into. That's something I would think very positive. In generally, I don't think that you have another vocal crowd in Europe like us, but it's especially because we have some culture about sports, and because we are so passionate, and we have deep down this passion that we want to show the world, that we want to discuss with friends, with the world. And that's why I think French people are so vocal about the pay-per-view and the shows. Bye, guys. Bye, Matt.
All right, Alex. First of all, it sounds like I'm talking to a different person. That's how much different the clarity is and audio quality is compared to the Google Voice mailbox I have. Now, I appreciate the explanation. I do, because it is a cultural difference too. I mean, again, everybody, I'm not disparaging international crowds versus U.S. crowds. It comes down to how, again, culture and how you were brought up, what your typical wrestling experience is, life experience. It just seemed to me that again, I don't know French, so that also doesn't help, right? Like I'm not I don't know any French. So when they're saying what they're saying in the crowd, and as a viewer at home who has been watching wrestling for 30 years, hears that, and I don't know what's being said, and it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over, it does get annoying because, number one, I don't understand French, which is, doesn't help. But also, it seems like they're not paying attention to what's going on in the ring, and you guys are just chanting whatever you want, and you're reacting to what's going on in the ring, but it's mostly about let's just chant our chants. And that's the way it's perceived. I don't have any other way to perceive it, unless I'm there and talking to the people. I don't know. But since we're one of those people, I'm glad you clarified. Now, that's the one thing we all share. We may express it differently in different vocal volume, vocal tones and volume, but we all love wrestling. We're passionate about it, or we wouldn't be here, especially on a wrestling podcast. No. I mean, those are the real passionate fans that take their time out of their day to not just watch, but talk about it. And essentially give WWE free advertising, which is what all podcasts about WWE do, whether it's positive or negative. You're still giving them free advertising. So it's passion. And that's the one thing we shared, despite the fact that cultural differences just allow us different methods to show that passion, which is really what the key difference is. I think that's all it is. And you guys coming together, you never, and it's true. In France, how many WWE events you guys get a year? To be able to go to one place where all you wrestling enthusiasts get to just feed off of each other, it makes sense. In the U.S., it's just kind of a birthright. Here in the U.S., up until just recently, where WWE is taking like so many of their shows global, and every other PLE is not in the United States, which is great. They have a global strategy that they're trying to implement. If you're a business, that's a smart strategy. But we're so used to in the U.S. just having show after show after show after show after house show. A lot of us skip some of the shows. Some of us, especially if it's a non-televised event, if it comes through your city, you literally can just go, well, they're here every 5 to 6 months. Well, I'll just go to the next one. That's how a lot of us feel. So we have that luxury of being able to skip some of the shows, especially if it's, kind of a random one, it doesn't look good. Even if it's a televised one, there's not a lot going on. I've elected to skip some of the televised shows because there's a lot of that goes into it, right? You gotta, first of all, it's money. You gotta drive there, park there. A lot of us have parking garages, which are nightmares. You never know who you're going to sit next to. It could be somebody with a sign. It could be somebody who's just, yelling the whole time, or just drunk or obnoxious. That does happen. So there's that unknown. If you have a family, then again, that's even more money. You got to bring them. It's a project. Then you got to, again, fight your way there, fight your way back, go through the lobby, spend money on merch and food and bathrooms and all the things we know. Anybody who's been to even a sporting event knows what I'm talking about. So my point is, though, that we have them so often here and they run the same cities that we can have the luxury of being able to say, I'll go to the next one. Whereas if you're in France and you guys are passionate about your sports and particularly about wrestling, you guys come together, once a year or sometimes not even that. It makes a lot more sense. So, I appreciate that. And, thank you, my friend. I will sure talk to you soon. And I'm interested to hear, now that you're a big Rock fan. So I've been interested to hear about what your take is on what the hell just happened on SmackDown. Because both of us kind of gave up hope Rock was going to be at WrestleMania. Now it's all but confirmed he's going to be there. It's just a matter of what the hell he's doing. All right. I think we got one more voicemail and then we'll call it a night.
Hey, it's Kyle for Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about the build to WrestleMania so far. I know a lot of people are not overly excited about it because they thought it would be bigger and different or similar to last year. Personally, for me, I am looking forward to, we still have the Chamber still, and then we have to still figure out who's going to be facing Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm more of a women's division wrestling fan as a whole, so I don't really care what happens to the men too much. Not all that invested in with the men. Is for me, it's the women, because that's my bread and butter of interest. So for me, I'm excited to see what they'll do, who Rhea's going to face. I'm expecting not Alexa, but Roxanne and Bailey to be going after each other for a while now, since their interactions beginning of the year or near the beginning of last year, or whatever. So looking forward to that personally, and I'm glad that Roxanne is seemingly done with NXT since she qualified for the Chamber, and also got pinned on Sunday or Saturday as well. So thinking that'll be her final match for NXT. But I'm glad she's in the Chamber. And I don't know, for me personally, I'm just excited to see what's to come after the Chamber. I was expecting something crazy to happen in the men's Chamber or not. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But personally, for me, I know people are not excited for WrestleMania, but I still think WrestleMania will be fun, even though the build to some people is still like it's lackluster, not all that exciting. But I just don't see The Rock coming back. I don't see the purpose of it at this point. So anyway, but that's all I wanted to say. For me personally, I'm into the women's division, and so far I'm excited for what they're doing with the women's division with Bianca and Jade or Naomi and all that stuff. So yeah, but that's it. It's what I thought that.
Yeah, I know you're a big Roxanne Perez fan and one of the bigger, at least from this show's perspective, bigger fans of the women's division even more than the men's, which is, it's cool. Because you're focusing on a division that needs help. It needs help from a standpoint of time. Just giving more time, more attention. You give them more championships, but then don't allow them the platform to build any equity in those championships. Kind of I don't want to say it's a pointless effort, but it's saying that the women have a championship, a number of championships that are equal to the men is nice to say, but it's like lying with numbers or lying with statistics, as they say. It's like, oh, do they have a world title on both shows? Yeah, they do. Do they have a U.S. and Intercontinental just like the men? Yeah, they do. Do they have a tag team championship? Yeah, they do. And then you're thinking, oh, if you only knew those statistics, you'd be like, oh, cool. Wow, things look like they've evened out. And it's far from. Now, I'm not of the belief that there should be equal minutes given to both men and women every week. I think the storylines and fan reactions should dictate that, and the creative that they have up ahead. I'm not of the belief of equity. It's one of the words. I hate that word so much because what it really means is take from those that have something and give it to those that don't, even if they didn't earn it. That's all that means. It's a euphemism for that, especially today's day and age. But when you have a storyline with the women that is seemingly hot, or you want to try something new, the women need more time. Conversely, if the men are kicking ass and there's a storyline or two that the fans are reacting to that ratings wise you can show are spiking every time that storyline's on, then you give it to the men. But sometimes you just need to give opportunity and see what happens. Even if the storylines aren't really dictating it, you kind of say, okay, we're going to give the women a little more time, see if something catches on. And if it doesn't, but again, I don't need the women and men each having 90 minutes every night or a 1 hour every night, whatever. No, I don't think that's not a good way to run a product like this. So anyway, thank you, Kyle. I hope you get your wish about this this WrestleMania season with the women maybe getting a little more exciting. I know Roxanne Perez, you're a big fan, and her being in the chamber. Is she going to win? Probably not. But her being there, from your perspective, I'm happy for you. All right, that'll do it for me here on the WWE Podcast on the this 21st day of February. I'm going to hit the hay. I appreciate everybody listening. We'll be back on Sunday with your weekend review. Also Sunday, we'll come to SmackDown review. It is going to be a little bit late this week, but we'll all survive. And I hope we chat soon, and everyone take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.